Hello, Magpies. It's never easy heading to the Etihad. But Saturday's match was a tough one to swallow. For Newcastle United fans, we came into the game with confidence, riding the momentum from back-to-back cup wins. But instead of putting up a fight, we got torn apart by a City side that made it look way too easy. Let's break it all down. A 4-0 defeat is painful enough, but what stings even more is the way we collapsed. City didn't have to work for their goals. We gifted them chances. And if you needed any proof of that, just listen to what Edison had to say after the match. The City goalkeeper openly admitted that our man-to-man marking system made it easy for him to exploit space and pick out long passes, including the one that led to their opening goal. It was a simple ball over the top. Trippier misjudged the header, and suddenly Marmish was in on goal, lobbing Dubravka with ease. That was the beginning of the end. From that moment, City knew exactly how to hurt us, and they did so with devastating efficiency. Now let's be honest. We all knew City would have a lot of the ball. That's just how they play. But even without Rodri, their midfield was untouchable, and our response, passive. Too passive. Where was the fight? We saw glimpses of it in previous games, but at the Etihad, we simply rolled over. Even club legend Alan Shearer didn't hold back, calling our performance pathetic. And can you blame him? Look at the stats. Not a single Newcastle player won more than one aerial duel. City, on the other hand, had 3 players who won at least 2. Let that sink in. The worst part, this isn't new. The Etihad has been a graveyard for us for years. But what hurts most is that we're supposed to be past performances like this. We're supposed to be competing. We're supposed to be closing the gap. And yet, this was as one-sided as ever. So, what went wrong? The tactics were exposed. The team looked out of ideas. And some players, let's be real, didn't look up for the fight. We'll dive deeper into Trippier's substitution and Eddie Howe's decision-making in the next part. But for now, it's clear. Newcastle was second best in every department, and that's just not acceptable. Want more? Stick around as we break down Eddie Howe's big halftime decision and what it means for Trippier's place in the squad. All right, Magpies, let's dive into Eddie Howe's big halftime decision, the one that saw Kieran Trippier and Joe Willock hold off at the break. Now, substitutions at halftime aren't unheard of, but when a player of Trippier's experience is taken off in a game of this magnitude, it raises eyebrows, and Howe didn't sugarcoat it. When asked if the changes were due to injury, his response was blunt. No. That says it all. This wasn't about fitness or protecting a player. This was a tactical statement, a recognition that things were going horribly wrong and something had to change. Let's be honest, Trippier had a nightmare. He was at fault for the opener, misjudging a simple header, and his numbers make for grim reading. Ground duels, won 3 times possession, lost 2 fouls, conceded a tackles, made for a player who's been so reliable for us. That's worrying. And it's not just this one game. His form has dipped for a while now. He's still got quality, no doubt, but can we rely on him week in, week out? That's the real question. And then there's Tino Livramento. Let's be real, Livramento is knocking on the door for a starting spot. Every time he plays, he brings energy, pace, and defensive solidity. He's the future, and maybe, just maybe, it's time to hand him the keys. Of course, it wasn't just Trippier who struggled. Joe Willock was also taken off, and Newcastle fans were left wondering what exactly went wrong in midfield. We simply couldn't keep the ball, and City toyed with us. It was embarrassing at times. Now I know this all sounds pretty negative, but let's get something straight. This isn't the end of the world. It's a bad loss, no doubt, but it's also a wake-up call. If we want to challenge at the top, These games have to be learning experiences. So, what next? Howe has big decisions to make, especially at right back. Does he stick with Trippier and hope he rediscovers his form? Or does he finally give Livramento the consistent run he deserves? That's the debate now. One thing's for sure though, we have to bounce back. The fans deserve better, and we know this squad is capable of so much more. This club is on the rise, and one bad day at the Etihad doesn't change that. For now, we move forward. Up the Magpies. See you in the next one.